Uh-oh. That don't look good. Well, it's not the best way to start the day. We come outside and there's a big old fire here. It went from nothing to over 500 acres in about 25 minutes. Unfortunately, it is upwind of us and moving this direction, so I don't know. Hope it's okay. Taking a little break from stressing out about the wildfires by the house, came down to the city, as you can hear. I'm at Flora Grub Gardens, here to check out some Vireas, tropical rhododendrons, and proteas. So let's take a look. When I walked in here, I was just immediately relaxed and happy. They really have a beautiful setup, all kinds of amazing plants in here, lots of space to browse around. A lot of stuff that's difficult to find at other non-specialty suppliers. Crazy bromeliads, they sort of specialize in South African and Australian plants as well, so they have a lot of really unique, difficult to find stuff at quite reasonable prices. This location is kind of geared towards tradespeople, and I think maybe that's why, but I loved it here. This is really cool. Rarely seen for sale in the United States. These are Leucadendron argenteum silver trees. They get pretty good size on them, and as you can see, they have this beautiful silvery hair to the leaf. Not a long-lived tree, but really beautiful. Some nice leucadendrons. You might recognize this. I already have this one in my garden. But beautiful shrub. Okay, out here tucked away, we've got the leucospermums and some proteas too. Not too many so far, but maybe there's more out here somewhere. This is Claire, 5 gallon for $60. Not a bad deal. Some interesting Banksias. I think this looks like Rober, maybe. Yeah, Rober, $60 for 5 gallons. These are another cool one. Got me, once again. Got a whole cart. You know, this is not an ad, but you got to check out Flora Grub if you're in the Los Angeles area and you're looking for really unique, sculptural, beautiful, even collector plants. So what I picked up today is a whole bunch of beautiful proteas. And some Vireas, tropical rhododendrons. If you follow my Instagram, you know that I have one or two that I've kept for over a decade now of those that I really love. They're hard to source, but you can find them here. And we've got so many beautiful proteas that I'm gonna put together, I think, a really beautiful project with that I can't wait to share with you guys. So what brought this to my mind, you know, is fire-adapted landscape plants, of which these South African natives are. Because we got that fire going on, so it's top of mind for me. One of many incidental projects. You see I have this slope, a little bare spot at the bottom. I used to have a white sapote tree here, which succumbed to some kind of mysterious malady. So today I'm replacing it with a weeping peach. It's called Crimson Cascade. It doesn't bear fruit, but has incredibly beautiful flowers and wonderful purple leaves, especially at the beginning of the season. So let's make a nice spot for it and get it settled in here. We'll give a good backdrop and provide some different colored foliage and a little bit more depth to the vista when you're looking from the porch out into the garden. This poor tree has been through it, and by it, I mean the United States Postal Service. It was shipped to me. It's bald and burlapped, dormant right now, but the crown really got smashed up. So we'll get it in, we'll get it all cleaned up, and hopefully set it up for a nice season of recovery and growth. It's a new home. There you go. Beautiful. Beautiful. We want a little bit of a well around it, but it is a grafted tree, so you don't want the graft to sit at or below the ground level, or you'll start to get a bunch of sprouts coming out from below the graft, which will not be the weeping form. It'll be the rootstock, and then you'll lose what's special about the tree. So you always want to keep an eye on that with grafted. Some weeping trees, cherry trees for example, in the United States are often grafted twice. They have a rootstock, they have a standard, and then the weeping tree is grafted up on top. Now this is the cheap and fast way because it is the good old US of A and everybody's trying to make a buck. The traditional way to do it in Japan is, I believe, with one less graft. Either they'll put the weeping tree on its own roots, so then there's no graft, or they'll graft it onto a rootstock and stake it upright when it's young. So the standard, the shaft of the tree, is not a separate plant, right? Which is how I just explained that it's done in the United States. It's a lot more work, it takes more time, but then you don't end up with a bunch of graft scars, which you get in the United States. But you know, we're okay with cut scars, I guess, around here on our trees and elsewhere. You know, sometimes people talk about the enshittification of everything, and there's obvious versions of it and insidious versions of it. The kind of cheapening of all materials and tools is kind of snuck into life, sometimes in ways you don't even think about or understand. Like, for example, it used to be when you would buy an expensive appliance that you would put on layaway or save for or whatever, the expectation is that it would last forever. It could be repaired, could be upgraded, and because of the profit incentive, we've of course gotten rid of that. And everybody's just okay with it. You know, nobody expects an iPhone to last forever. It's an expensive tool that you are expected to have to repurchase every X number of years. But it's crept into smaller things as well, too. Tools, hoses, stuff that I use in the garden all the time. Things that used to be metal fittings or used to have replaceable pieces have just become injection molded plastic, or they've been cheapened to such an extent that they break, and you just got to get a whole new thing. So the latest example of this is this hose caddy just came. Inlet snapped, it became detached because the inside of it is plastic. You know, so it had been leaking for a while, but I didn't want to scream for a replacement. But here we are. So it's back to the big box store, because around here there's no little hardware store you can go to. We made another deal, which is that we wanted everything to be cheap, and boy did we get what we asked for. Everything is cheap, but also it's fucking cheap. The quality is bad, and all the small owned mom and pop stores that maybe used to give you something that was durable and last, maybe at a slightly higher price, they're gone because we wanted cheap. And so now we got the Home Depot, we got Lowe's. So that's where I'm headed. There's your little spot of sunshine. All this just to say, nowadays when you buy a tool, it's made more with the needs of the business that makes it and sells it in mind than you as the user, and specifically the needs of the shareholders of that business. But what's wrong with that? That's capitalism, you might say. Well, if you were born in the last 20 years, you're probably used to it. But businesses used to be about more than just shareholder value, believe it or not. And you can still see little hints of that if you look carefully enough. You know, like you'll see in some of these slogans like GE, we bring good things to life. Not GE, we increase shareholder value year over year. You know, so there used to be more of a mission to a business than just profit. And I think that's part of the reason why things have changed. Everything is so consumable and replaceable now, because there's not really businesses that are in the business of making good, long-lasting tools as much as businesses that are in the business of increasing profits through the sales of tools. So I think if you come from a certain culture, or you're just used to being in the milieu of modern capitalism, or perhaps not working with tools or other things, like I've explained, it's really easy to dismiss the idea that there's something that resonates with people when they hear "Make America Great Again." And you know, I think that's part of it. There are people who have been around who've seen this kind of enshittification of everything, and they look back on stuff like that I've just explained, and they're like, well, wait a minute, like, we used to be a country, you know? And it's worth kind of looking a little deeper, or thinking about it, because it's not really a fringe feeling. It's something that a lot of people feel, and it shouldn't be just dismissed out of hand. It's hard to deny that things have changed even in my lifetime, and they're not always for the better, and they're not always for the better for everybody. So it can be really jarring to feel that and experience that, and then have a wholesale rejection of that feeling from other people based on cultural grounds, you know, an unwillingness to hear that critique of where we are now, because at the same time as some things have moved backward, other things have moved really far forward. But I think it's worth having a nuanced perspective on the world, that not everything uniformly gets better at the same time. Some things get better, some things get worse. And I think we have to be able to recognize that, and that will bring us a long way towards understanding like why different people end up on different sides of this really painful political divide that we have right now. And I think like you got to be careful with just wholesale rejecting people from your life because they're across that divide right now. Anyway, off my soapbox. That's the end of that. Let's get back to planting. I'm going to take you up close for this beautiful Louisiana iris. It's called Aqua Velva. The first flower opened today. It's a water iris, grows in the stream here at the top of the pond. Very vigorous, many flowers. Just wonderful to look at. Give you a close up. Right, I think it's time for a seeding. We got the old box of seeds, time to scatter them to the wind. I mean, not really to the wind, but to the flower bed. For this bed, I've decided to go with Linaria, red flax, blue flax, Chinese houses, native California wildflower, and of course, California poppies. It's gonna be a party color explosion. Woohoo. Damn, look at this. Gladiolus miniatus. I completely forgot that I had these. It's from 2019. Who knows if they're gonna germinate or not, but like, good find if they do, so we'll give it a shot. Always exciting when you're a seed hoarder. You kind of find stuff you forgot about. Whether it is wildfires or no, one thing that I find is down here, central LA, facing towards the ocean, there's always beautiful sunsets in the evening. So nice end to a rough day. Follow along for more garden projects and my bullshit opinions. See you guys later.